Last week I published a video on uh, installing reinforcing tapes on the wings. Well, I'm here to tell you that actually somebody watches the stuff I publish uh, and contacted me and said, "Hey, I think you're wrong. I think the reinforcing tapes don't actually go there." Well, after a lot of reading and researching and digging, I found that um, Scott Matthews was quite right. You don't put the reinforcing tape directly onto the ribs like I was trying to show in that video. So I took the video down, and well, it's caused me to have a fairly big rethink altogether on what I'm trying to achieve here. The way it's meant to go is the fabric goes on next to the ribs. You can use in certain places, you can use that 1-inch wide anti-chafing tape that I've shown. You put the fabric onto the ribs, and then you put the reinforcing tape over the fabric. That distributes the load a bit better on the rivets or on rib stitching or whatever method you use. So it's pretty obvious that's the way it's supposed to go. Now, think, oh dear me, there's a lot of work that's been done that's going to have to be redone. Well, fortunately, it can be redone. There's not that much really that needs to be corrected. I've got one side of one wing fairly well advanced. I'm going to have to undo that. So then I'm going to be short fabric, and I'm going to have to order new fabric. Well, something that's never really sat very well with me from day one is that I'm making the aeroplane that I'm building a lot heavier than the original. The original uses lightweight fabric, and that's not really set well with me. The lightweight fabric, I think I explained this the other day, but the lightweight fabric seems to be for more ultralight and low wing loading aeroplanes. Well, I've jacked the wing loading up. By putting a radial on the front of the aeroplane, I've jacked the wing loading up quite a bit. And it's never really sat well with me that I'm using light grade fabric. So, since I've wasted some of my light grade fabric, I'm going to have to buy new stuff. And for us here in Australia, the way you do that is you call up Aircraft Spruce in the US, and they send you a whole bunch of fabric or a whole bunch of whatever you order, and you pay through the absolute nose on freight. So I've done that. I've ordered enough bits to replace everything. I've decided to go down the path of using medium grade fabric. So I'm going to replace all of the fabric I've done, and all of the fabric that I haven't done yet is going to be replaced with medium weight fabric. The fabric itself is about twice the weight of the light grade stuff. The light grade stuff is, I think it's 1.7 ounces per square yard. The medium grade stuff is 2.7 ounces per square yard. So it's not double, but it's quite considerably more. And then there's a heavier grade above that, which I don't intend using at all. But it's like 3.5 ounces per square yard. So, you think, oh, wow, that's really bad, well, actually, I'm not looking at it that way. I'm looking at it as being really, really good. One, it gets me to upgrade the fabric to what I probably should have done in the first place. I was using the light grade fabric because I had it, not necessarily because I should have had it. I probably should not have had it. It gives us the opportunity to have a look at how we get the fabric off a wing that's already half made. See how we strip it? We're talking about the large-headed aluminium rivets that hold the fabric to the wing, and we're talking about how difficult or how easy that's going to be to remove those rivets. Well, now we get to find out. We get to find out firsthand. So there's a number of positives out of the mistake I made. But yeah, two things, I guess. One is I apologise to you if you took me at my word as to what I was saying, how to do the job. Don't ever do that. Don't ever follow me, especially on fabric covering, because this is the first aeroplane I've ever done, and I'm learning as I go. Well, hopefully I've learnt something, and I'm able to pass it on to you, so that you don't make the same mistake. We've managed to recover. We've managed to find some positives in it, and we're going to play on. One of the negatives is that I don't know when I'm going to receive the fabric. That's another thing, I suppose. I've learned a lot about fabric as well. There are basically two manufacturers of fabric. There's Seconite and there's Superflight. They're the two basic manufacturers. The Seconite is sold by a whole bunch of different people under their own names. There are other fabrics as well that I won't discuss, but they're the two major fabric like I'm using. They're the two major manufacturers. For some reason, which I've been unable to figure out, is the Superflight fabric is way cheaper than the Seconite. Way cheaper, like being 40% cheaper, for instance. It apparently, according to some people on different sites, is that it's has a higher thread count, so it's finer. Still weighs the same. It's still 2.7 ounces per square yard. But it's certified. It has the certification. The Seconite doesn't. So I have no idea. We're back to square one again. But yeah, so it's worth investigating the differences between the Seconite and the Superflight. So I've got some Superflight coming. The great unknown is that I have absolutely no idea when it's likely to arrive. That's the other thing that we get used to waiting in Australia. It may arrive quickly, it may not. Yeah, but that's where we are, and yeah. So I hope over the last weekend you haven't rushed out and glued some reinforcing strips onto your wing ribs like I tried to do. That's easy enough to get off. I mean, the wing I was showing you, it's going to take me all of 5 minutes to take those strips off and start over again. But I'm going to use a different fabric, and I'm going to have to just wait for the fabric to turn up. But that's okay. I've got plenty of other jobs I can go on with on the fuselage itself. Yeah, there's no shortage of jobs over there. And of course, I don't know how difficult it's going to be to get the fabric off wherever it is, that wing over there. I don't know how difficult it is. We're gonna learn that, and if it's worthwhile, I'll make a video of it and show you. This is how you peel it off. I don't know if there are chemicals required to do the job or what. That's the whole learning part. But anyway, that's where we are. And again, my apologies if I led you up the garden path. But let's play on and just have fun doing it anyway.